Gaza is a coastal strip of land on the Mediterranean Sea. It's bordered by Israel and Egypt. The Gaza Strip is one of 3 separate geographic areas that the Palestinian people hope to combine into their own country. They want Gaza and the territories of the West Bank and East Jerusalem to come together into a country called Palestine. 2 Palestinian political parties, Fatah and Hamas, have fought over Gaza in elections and violent skirmishes. Fatah is a party that recognizes the existence of Israel and has negotiated for peace. Fatah run the Palestinian Authority, or PA, which is the official governing body of the Palestinians. Complaints of corruption have been lodged against Fatah. In 2006, Hamas defeated Fatah in Palestinian Authority general elections. Hamas is an acronym for Islamic Resistance Movement. Hamas' founding charter advocates the destruction of Israel and the establishment of an Islamic State. Burju Munoz, project manager for CRS Jerusalem, explains how this situation has led to deprivation and poverty for the Palestinians.
When Hamas was elected democratically in 2006, the international community did not recognize their coming to power because they see them as a terrorist organization. Therefore, they cut all international aid to the Palestinian Authority, which made up of about 60% of PA's budget. In addition to that, Israel also boycotted the Hamas government, and they said, we're going to cut all our tax returns that they were supposed to be giving to the Palestinian Authority, which made up about 20% of PA's budget. So in a short period of time after Hamas came to government, the PA, the Palestinian Authority, lost 80% of its income. This meant that teachers and all other kinds of government officials could not get their salaries for months. They went on strike. Schools did not start until after 2 or 3 months into the scholastic year, the following year. And public services came to a halt, and economy stagnated, and people were hungry. They were hungry.
Burju further explains the Gaza Strip and the current internal situation.
President Abbas saw that this couldn't continue like this. Therefore, they declared an emergency government, and that meant that Hamas had to step down. But that intensified the political conflict between Hamas and Fatah, and there were bloody fights in West Bank, and especially in Gaza, which ended with the Hamas takeover of the Gaza Strip. And after the Hamas takeover of the Gaza Strip, the consequences followed, which was that Israel declared Gaza Strip as hostile entity. They tightened the closures around Gaza, and that meant that a lot of the goods that were going in were restricted, and were coming out was not allowed. One obstacle impeding the easing of the closure restrictions in Gaza are the Qassam rockets that the Palestinian militants fire into the Israeli neighborhoods to the north of the Strip. Therefore, there's quite a bit of Israeli military presence there, either with their tanks or with their rockets, trying to stop them and hunt them down. They say that the lives of the people in Beit Hanun are very difficult because they are stuck between the 2 sides. They're stuck between the Palestinian militants who just wouldn't stop, and also the Israeli presence there. The Qassam rockets that are homemade, and they don't always reach their targets, and sometimes they fall within the strip into the neighborhood of Beit Hanun, and they just like they injure or kill people in Sderot, the Israeli neighborhood, right north of the Strip, they also injure kids and people within that neighborhood. Around 60% of the youth we've been working with have never been outside of Gaza. They have relatives in Jerusalem, relatives in the West Bank, but they've never been able to travel. They want an end to the closure. They want to be able to move freely in and out. They want goods and commodities to come into Gaza and imports to go out of Gaza, so that there's more jobs for them, there's more jobs for their fathers so they can feed their families. So that they just don't have to suffer that much to get the basic necessities of life. Their families has become a lot poorer. And for university students, this might mean that they will not be able to pay their tuition fees anymore. It might also mean that they don't even have money for transport to the university. When there aren't very many opportunities, recently, one thing that's always a possibility for young people is to join in one of the security forces, for example. In the past, when they did that, that meant that they found themselves right in the middle of violent conflict. To earn some money for their families, they would join a Fatah security force or a Hamas-affiliated security force. And when the political conflict between the two parties intensified, that meant they had to be part of the fighting in the streets, or that meant that they would be sought out by one party or the other, and they would be kidnapped and sometimes tortured. And when you talk to these young people, you would not believe in some of the stories of what they've been through. What the young people want is not further division. They want national unity. They think that this internal political conflict is harming their national cause of building a statehood for themselves, of gaining their independence. They say that in the past we used to be united and we used to be working to build our country or gain our independence. Right now, all our energy seems to be wasted in this national conflict. And it's also harming our international image. That's how they see it.
One of the ways CRS is trying to help is by working with the United Nations Food Distribution, Food for Work, Food for Training.
We give 2 or 3 month food rations in return for so many hours of community work or training that people attend. We also do work with young people. We work with schools. We have a program called Value Building Education that complements the civic education curriculum with co-curricular activities that are implemented in and outside of the school environment. The young people talk about democracy, they talk about social change and justice issues, and they also talk about peace within the Palestinian community, about accepting differences, accepting the other, and about nonviolent principles of conflict resolution.
American education and awareness about the Gaza Strip conflict is vital for resolution. Once educated about the situation, Burju explains how Americans can get involved.
CRS runs several programs in West Bank and Gaza. They could find out more about these projects and see if they could support them in any way. Palestinian young people think that Americans think they're all terrorists. So they do want to change that stereotype and make a difference. There are also programs called Global Solidarity Network that bridges university students from the United States and youth in Palestine. They choose a theme and they discuss this theme over a period of time, and then they have opportunities to actually see each other through video conferencing at certain points throughout the life of the project.
Here are some things you can do to help the situation. Educate yourself about the situation in Gaza and the West Bank. Find out about and support CRS programs. And urge your government representatives to work for peace in Israel and Palestine.